Hey there, everyone. I'm coming to chat with you a little scroungy today on my Sunday evening. It's been kind of an interesting day, and wasn't even totally sure I was going to do a live today. Here I am. So kind of last minute in my Sunday best, complete with hat. No, well, I was going to say no makeup, but the truth is at the very last minute, I put lipstick on because lipstick makes everything look like it's on purpose. So I am on purpose looking like this today. It's just ironic that I'm talking about this because what I really wanted to talk about today was how to practice unconditional self-love and some interesting examples of what that would look like. So it's ironic just because here I am being scroungy and putting a little bit of lipstick on. So it's all a work in progress, right, with self-love. So this is probably going to come out as a big, long ramble because I have ideas of how I want this, what I wanted to share, but also it's kind of unfolding in my brain as it's happening. So where this was starting was in the last week. I was having some conversations with some clients about unconditional love. And somewhere like this little example popped up for me that I said, if you were to measure your amount of self-love on a scale of 0 to 100, I said, tune in and like what number would describe your amount of self-love, obviously 100 being the most self-love. And I said, whatever your number is, what I want you to say afterwards is, I unconditionally love and accept that that's where my number is. So that sentence, that phrase can feel a little weird, a little rattling at times, because if somebody's number is anything lower than 100, our tendency is to want to hopefully just be curious, but we might start to get judgy about why is my number not at 100? And we have to learn that whatever number comes up, that number is exactly okay. That is what unconditional love means. It means whatever that number is okay. It doesn't mean that we don't hope that at some point it's going to move closer and be at 100 at some point. Of course we do. It's also okay to be even a little bit curious about like, I'm kind of wondering why my number is not at 100. I wonder why it's at a 70 or a 40 or whatever the number is. It's okay to be curious and to want to move it. And at the same time, what we really want to say to ourselves is, I unconditionally love and accept that that's where my number is. So, unconditional, like that word is the most important word, right? So, if we think about it in terms of like love for a child or a kid or something like that, when we unconditionally love somebody else, like a kid, those are sometimes the easiest ones to think about in terms of love. We would never, if that kid was feeling sad, would we say to them, I don't love you as much because you're sad right now? That's like ridiculous, right? We would never remove our love from a kid that felt sad. And yet, what do we do oftentimes to ourselves? But if we're feeling sad, if we're feeling low, if we're feeling depressed, we can place conditions upon how well we are loving ourselves in that moment. So I unconditionally love and accept that's where my number is part of unconditionally loving ourselves, which will actually, over time, help move that number higher. So I was having conversation with, again, like some clients and talking about that. So that theme was in my brain. And, I was kind of thinking like, okay, maybe I'll do a little talk on that. Cool. Earlier today, I had time in my schedule to meditate. So I sit down to meditate and I'm kind of checking in with myself, and I realize like I'm kind of just in a funk and I don't exactly know why. But that's okay. So I'm sitting in meditation, and for me, meditation is maybe a little bit different than how other people meditate. I am, instead of trying to clear my mind, I'm almost allowing whatever needs to come up, and I'm kind of noticing it, trying to not judge whatever comes up, but just being observant of it, noticing it. Sometimes I get curious about it and start to wonder, like, if is there a theme that's coming up? Is there a pattern that's coming up? So I'm sitting with that, and what I realized as I was sitting there was I was having some resentment with somebody that I know, and that I didn't want to have that resentment, so I just kind of decided to do sort of a visualization where I was basically like kind of visualizing having a soul-to-soul conversation with this person and letting myself think and feel whatever I needed to feel. So I did that, and I had some really cool, weird stuff happen in my meditation, which happens often with me, where my body does really interesting things. I get a lot of movements and stuff when I meditate. This was like exceptional though. And so my body was doing interesting things, and then that part passed, and I was sitting there still in meditation, and I was thinking, I just had that really cool thing happened, and I thought it would feel different afterwards. I thought it would feel better. I thought it would feel lighter. And so still kind of just noticing that and kind of being disappointed that, that resentment wasn't gone. It still felt heavy. So still in meditation, I decide to incorporate something called tapping. For people that are not familiar with tapping is it's kind of like acupressure-ish kind of a technique that you tap on different spots on your body that are meridian points that just help your body to relax, is the quick nutshell. I'm totally happy to talk more about that. If anyone wants more information, drop a comment and let me know. But so I'm not getting too distracted off my topic right now. I, again, decided to incorporate tapping while I'm meditating. So I'm literally sitting there in meditation, eyes still closed, and I'm noticing that I still have this resentment, even though this cool, weird stuff just happened in meditation. So I start tapping, again, which is just to help my body to release stress, resistance, whatever. And I'm tapping, and all I'm saying to myself in this moment was things like, I accept, what was I saying? I accept that I don't feel lighter. I accept that it still feels heavy. So again, it almost sounds counterintuitive, right? Because it's not that I want the heaviness to stay. Of course I don't. I'm accepting that that's where I'm at right now. Do I want it to be better? Of course I do, but it's kind of like this weird thing of if we accept it and don't try to force it to be different, it actually then starts to dissipate and move. So I'm tapping on my body and just saying, I accept that that I don't feel light anymore, or I don't feel light after this. I accept that it still feels heavy. And sure enough, I did that for, I don't know, maybe 2 minutes. Again, still in meditation. And right away I could start to feel it actually move. It felt lighter at that point, right? Not when, the weird stuff was happening in meditation, but when I accepted that that's where I was at, then it actually got lighter. So then I actually finished meditation kind of going like, okay, like it feels better, it feels easier. And I kind of just sat in it for a little while. I kind of sat in there and sort of just relished in it. And in my mind at that point, I was really just saying things like, I enjoy feeling at ease. I enjoy feeling peaceful in my body. So, keeping the long story going on, I then finished meditation. It's all good. The interesting thing is, excuse me, after meditation, probably an hour or two later, I ended up having a conversation with somebody else in my life, not the same person that I was doing the visualization with, but a different person. But this was another conversation that just really needed to happen. And this conversation, was good. It was necessary. It was challenging. But I feel absolutely like the work that I did in meditation and causing that energy shift in me personally then helped me to have this other conversation that needed to happen too. And that conversation going well and shifting in terms of our relationship. So, that's a lot of babbling, it sounds like. Here's the big point of it, again, is our goal with working on self-love is not a quick flip of the switch and going from 0 to 100. That's not what self-love looks like. Self-love and unconditional love for ourselves happens in increments, and the increments show themselves in opportunities like I had today. They show themselves in when I'm having a moment where I don't feel, 100% how I would like to feel. In that moment, can I practice self-love? Which really just has to look like I unconditionally love and accept this is how I feel right now. Because that is, again, the love that we would want to give someone that we care about. And someone, again, I always think kids, because I think we can look at them and feel, how sweet and innocent and loving they are. So it's easier to look at them with the unconditional love. That is the same love that we would want to give them, is I unconditionally love you, little kid, even if you're sad or if you're angry, right? So, or if they were having a low self-esteem moment, we would never remove love from them. Never, 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 right? We would look at them and give them more love because we would know they need it. And that's what we're supposed to be doing with ourselves all the time too. And so the interesting thing for me is that sometimes it shows itself in people in really obvious ways, where some people will say nope, I hate myself, I loathe myself. It's really clear where they're feeling on that. And then in other ways, in other circumstances or other people, it shows itself in these little bit more subtle and kind of sneaky ways. Kind of like what I'm saying today of I thought, this meditation experience was going to make me feel lighter, and it didn't feel lighter. And so the fact that it didn't feel lighter, I'm having judgment about myself and I'm judging what's going on. And instead, in that moment, my opportunity for self-love is to love and accept exactly what happened and exactly how I feel. And then it actually moves. So, I hope all that makes sense. It feels like a lot of rambling. I am seeing people jumping on. Sorry, my little computer's over here. I am seeing people pop up and saying hi. So thank you so much. I love that. I just didn't want to interrupt my long talking. So kind of doing it different today, but hopefully that made sense. If any of you that are watching right now, because I see a couple of you there, have any questions about what I just rambled about. There's a little judgy on myself, wasn't it? I love and unconditionally accept that I just did a little judgy there. Okay. Anyway, if you have a question about anything that I was just talking about, drop it in the comments. If you want information about the weird tapping stuff, like I was saying, you can drop that in there too, and I will send you to the who I call like the tapping guy, who I learned so much from. And for anyone that would be interested in the Facebook group that I have that is all about working on self-love and healing ourselves, drop me that too, because I will certainly drop that link there. Thank you. I'm seeing Lisa and Kelly, which is so nice to see. It always is so nice when I'm doing these things, because again, you know, it's a little vulnerable. It's a little bit, you know, could evoke some self-doubt for sure. And especially on days like today, again, where I throw the hat on and have the old college sweatshirt on, that self-doubt might come in. And so it's nice when you get to see like little people's faces pop up and make comments and stuff. Because then I feel like, okay, I have a little cheering section while I'm in here talking about self-lovey stuff. Again, drop me a comment if you want any information on the weird tapping stuff. If you would like any information on, or the link to the group. Sorry, I was like, what was the word for that? Group. The Facebook group for healing self-doubt. So you can drop those in the comments. And again, any questions about this, if you're watching this on replay, I would love for you to even just put replay in the comments, just so I can kind of make sure that after this is all done, that that it's still providing value for people out there. So, cool. I'm so glad to have shared this with you. Hopefully it made sense. I guess until next time. So take care, guys. Peace out.